Hello to you all. Welcome back to my channel, and I want to thank you so much for watching. And this is a coffee table that I made for my living room. So if you like what you see, continue watching and I will show you how I achieved this look. The first thing I did was go to Home Depot to take a look at the mirror section just to get an idea of the size table I want. I then came across a mirror that was a 40 by 30, so I went to the wood cutting section, found the wood that I like, and had them cut it to that size. I used the leftover wood to cut out the sides for my table, which is an approximate length of 14 centimeters, and now I am just using hot glue to hold that together. This will be the bottom of the table, so it wasn't a big deal with the screws that I used. But when you get to the top, you want to make sure that you use flathead screws because of the mirror that you will be sitting on it. I thought about making a floating table, but instead I wanted a shelf underneath it. So to get my table legs, I had this 4x4 post that I cut to approximately 22 centimeters in length. And to be able to attach the legs to the table, I did cut out more so of a rectangle than a square that was just a bit bigger than the post, so I had room to be able to attach it to the table. I still wanted my table to have the more so floating look, so I did have an old piece of wood that was smaller than my tabletop, and I basically took the legs and formed it around that piece of wood instead of the tabletop itself. After attaching the legs, I flipped the table over just to make sure it didn't wobble. Now I promise you guys, I came up for the look of this table as I went along. I was stuck on this part for quite some time because I didn't know what I can do for the feet, as you could say, for the table. I ended up coming up with this to where I took a square that was just a bit bigger than a 4x4 and then cutting out another square that was bigger than the first one. Now that the glass is glued down, it is time for the fun part. I came across this beautiful glass towel, which was basically the inspiration for this table. It has the blue of my furniture as well as different notes of blue, which I love. This is basically towel that can be used for backsplash in the kitchen. I am using a fabric cutter. I basically cut the towel in half and then cut a roll off of each piece just to get the length that I wanted for the table. I ended up using a total of 5 packs, and these run about $13 each. To coordinate with my living room, I knew I wanted to bring more white into this table. So to achieve that look, I decided to put small gaps in between the glass towel instead of putting them together. This is some towel adhesive. I not only used this to adhere the towel to the table, but I also used it to smooth out the surface as much as possible, as well as fill in any gaps. If this is your first time to my channel, it is definitely a pleasure to have you here. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my latest videos. If you are inspired to complete this look, be sure to get unsanded grout. This is glass, so getting sanded grout would definitely scratch up the towel. I regret not wearing gloves on this step. When I tell you guys, my hands were rough for days, literally for days. So learn from my mistake and put on some gloves. There was another huge mistake that I made with this table. So instead of wiping the grout off by the time I got to the last side, I left it on here overnight, you guys. By the time I got back to it the next day, it was so hard. Like, it was such a mess to get off. I ended up having to go over the table with another layer of grout in between the gaps just to give it more so of a smoother look. I must say all my hard work paid off because it turned out absolutely beautiful. Check out the finished look. Unfortunately, I did not get the footage, but as you can see, I painted my table legs white as well as the shelf. I then purchased a glitter foam sheet from Walmart and placed it on top of the shelf just to tie in with the stools that I made for my living room as well. I will have that link down below just in case you want to check that video out. But then I ended up placing a basket underneath just so we can be able to keep our remotes in it.